Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a concept that might sound a bit strange at first. Emptiness.
Right.
But not emptiness like a void, nothing there. It's
Yeah.
actually something quite profound, a state of being, and really an active practice.
Mm.
And for this deep dive, our source is an ancient text, the Lesser Discourse on Emptiness. In Pali, that's the Cūḷasuññatasuttaṃ.
A classic.
It's a direct conversation, actually, between the Bhagavan, that's a title for the Buddha, and his attendant, Ananda. So our mission really is to get what emptiness truly meant back then, how it was practiced step by step, and, well, why it was seen as this supreme state.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating here, I think, is that it's not just some abstract philosophy, is it?
Not at all.
The Sutta gives you this surprisingly practical path. It's very methodical, a way to really refine your perception, your state of mind. It's a how-to almost, not just a concept.
That's a great way to put it. Concept versus method. And that distinction comes up right away. The Sutta opens, Ananda goes to the Bhagavan and says, basically, I remember hearing you say you often dwell in emptinesses. He's checking, saying, did I get that right?
Seeking confirmation.
And the Bhagavan just confirms it straight out. Indeed, Ananda, you have heard, grasped, attended, and comprehended this correctly. I have, and still do, dwell mostly in emptiness.
And that confirmation, it's not just a quick, yep. It validates Ananda's understanding, sure. But it also signals just how important this is. This isn't some side teaching. It's central, a consistent practice for the Bhagavan himself.
Right. And to make it clearer, for Ananda and, well, for us, the Bhagavan uses this brilliant analogy. It's very down-to-earth. Migaramatu's palace.
Ah, yes, the palace.
He describes it saying it's empty of elephants, cows, horses, mares, gold, silver, and gatherings of men and women. All the usual signs of wealth and activity gone. But then, the crucial point, it is not empty of the community of monks, Sangha.
And this is where the Sutta just flips the usual idea of emptiness on its head.
Totally.
It spells it out. What is not there, one perceives as empty with that. What remains there, one understands as present with that. So emptiness here isn't about a lack of everything. It's about this incredibly sharp discernment, knowing precisely what isn't present in your experience and also knowing precisely what is still there.
It's about focused observation, really.
Exactly. Precise, deliberate observation. And that idea, that's the bedrock for the whole practice that follows in the Sutta.
Okay, so foundation laid. And then this takes you on this progressive journey, right? Through different mental states, systematically emptying the mind, moving from coarser perceptions to finer ones, like climbing a ladder mentally.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's very systematic, which is what makes it so powerful, I think. It starts with something called forest perception, aruññasañña.
Right.
The idea is the monk deliberately stops attending to village perceptions and human perceptions, all the noise and busyness of social life, basically.
And disregarding here isn't just ignoring, is it? It's more active.
It's very active, yes. It's a precise mental act. You gently withdraw attention from those things, allowing the mind to settle, to become clear, focus just on the forest. The text says the mind plunges in, becomes clear, stands firm, is liberated with this forest perception. It's quite beautiful.
So what's being emptied at this stage?
Well, the Sutta talks about a subtle distress. The Pali word is duratha. It's not like major suffering, more like a background static or agitation linked to those village and human thoughts.
Okay.
That distress gets emptied out. It's gone. But, and this is key, the text notes that any subtle distress related to the forest perception itself still remains.
Okay, so you notice what's gone, but also what's still there.
Exactly. And this first step is called a pure, unperverted, cleansed entry into emptiness. It's the starting point.
So you've settled the mind with force perception. Where does it go next? Still refining.
Still refining.
Yeah.
Always refining. The next step is earth perception, pahivisañña. So now you disregard the human perceptions and the forest perceptions. The focus narrows further, just onto earth.
And there's that vivid analogy here, isn't there? The bull side.
Yes. Just as Ananda, a bull's hide is well stretched with 100 stakes, free from wrinkles. It's a great image.
So how does that apply?
You apply it mentally. You disregard all the bumps and details of the earth, the rivers, hills, rocks, thorns, mountains. You smooth it all out in your mind.
So you perceive Earth as this vast, unified, featureless plane.
Exactly. You're moving towards a more refined, almost abstract perception of the element itself, seeing its, you could say, essence, rather than just its varied, bumpy surface.
Got it. And again, the same principle applies. Emptying the old distress.
Precisely. The distress linked to human and forest thoughts is now empty. But any subtle friction or distress arising from this unified earth perception, that remains. You notice it's still there. This discerning, this knowing what's absent and present just keeps going.
And from earth, the citta moves beyond the physical, right, into these boundless, formless states.
That's the next major shift. You let go of forest and earth perception, and the focus shifts to infinite space perception.
Mm-hmm.
Then you refine further, letting go of space, focusing on infinite consciousness perception. Then letting go of consciousness, focusing on nothingness perception. And finally, the most subtle of these formless states, letting go of nothingness, focusing on neither perception nor non-perception.
Wow! That's quite a progression into abstraction.
It really is. And each step follows that same logic we saw earlier. You deliberately disregard, you notice the absence of the previous coarser state.
Right.
And you simultaneously identify whatever subtle distress or mental clinging still remains with the current, more refined state. It's like meticulously cleaning a lens, getting clearer and clearer.
So this emptiness evolves at each stage. It's always about knowing what specific mental static isn't there anymore.
Exactly. It's a systematic purification, preparing the mind for the final, really crucial insight.
Okay, so this whole intricate process, stripping away perception after perception, what's the ultimate goal? What's the payoff here? Where does it all lead?
It leads to the apex, what the Sutta calls the signless concentration of mind, anamitta citta samadhi.
Signless.
At this point, the practitioner disregards even those super subtle states, nothingness, and neither perception or non-perception. The focus is just on this signless concentration.
Okay.
But here, and this is the absolute crux of the Sutta, I think the monk has a profound realization. They see that even this state, this incredibly refined signless concentration, it too is conditioned, volitionally produced.
So even that isn't the final destination. Why is seeing it as conditioned so important?
Well, that's the insight that unlocks everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's realizing that anything that arises due to causes and conditions, anything put together, even the most sublime meditative state, is by its very nature impermanent. It arises and it will cease. True liberation, then, isn't about finding the best state and clinging to it. It's about seeing the transient nature of all conditioned things, even the highest spiritual achievements. It's the ultimate letting go.
So realizing that everything conditioned is impermanent and subject to cessation. That's the key insight.
That's the insight. And the Sutta says, upon realizing that seeing things as they truly are, the mind becomes profoundly liberated from the taints, the asava.
The taints, those deep-rooted issues. The text names 3 specifically.
Yes. Sensual desire, kamasava, the desire for existence or becoming, bhavasava, and ignorance of ichasava. These are seen as the fundamental defilements that keep us bound to suffering.
And eradicating them is liberation.
That's the core of it, yes. Freeing oneself from the very roots of suffering, craving, and delusion.
And when that happens, the Sutta says the realization dawns. Birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what was to be done has been done, there is no more returning to this state of being. Complete freedom. And in this ultimate state, how is emptiness perceived then?
Well, those taints, sensual desire, desire for existence, ignorance, those are now perceived as empty. They are gone, absent.
Okay.
But what remains? What is not empty? The text is very clear. This very body with its 6 sense bases dependent on life. The simple, bare fact of embodied existence, now free from the taints.
And this is called the purest, supreme, unexcelled entry into emptiness.
Exactly. The final, liberated understanding.
What an absolutely incredible map the Sutta provides, from a palace to ultimate liberation. And it makes clear this isn't just, a one-off teaching for Ananda back then.
No, definitely not. And what's really striking, I think, is that the Bhagavan explicitly says that all ascetics and Brahmins, past, present, or future, who attain this pure, supreme emptiness, they do it or will do it through this very practice of emptiness.
So it's presented as a universal path.
It really is. Timeless, applicable to anyone serious about the practice.
Which leads right into the final instruction, doesn't it? Directly to Ananda, but really to anyone listening then or now.
Right.
Therefore, Ananda, you should train yourselves thus. We will dwell having entered upon the pure, supreme, unexcelled emptiness. It's a call to practice.
Wow. So just to recap this journey we've taken, we started with emptiness not as a void, but as knowing what's not in the palace.
Right.
Then we followed this incredibly systematic path of Refining perception, forest, earth, the formless states, always identifying the subtle distress being emptied out at each stage.
Uh-huh. Step-by-step purification.
Culminating in that profound insight into the conditioned nature of even the highest states, which leads to liberation from the taints, desire, existence, ignorance,
Yeah.
and realizing that final pure emptiness where the taints are absent, but the lived reality of the body remains just free. It's really redefined emptiness for me, away from nothingness towards radical clarity.
It really reframes it, doesn't it? And this deep dive, it really brings up a question for anyone listening, I think.
The sutta describes this path of refining perception, constantly checking what's absent now, what's still present. And that leads to freedom. So it makes you wonder, could applying that same kind of precise observation, what's not here, what is here to our own thoughts, our own difficult emotions, our everyday experiences, could that bring a similar kind of clarity? Maybe even a bit of freedom from our own mental burdens.
That's a fascinating thought.
How might you, consciously empty a perception, even a simple one, just to see more clearly what actually remains underneath? What would that look like in your own life?